Sorry about that. I'd like to call the February the 9th, 2026 Board of Supervisors meeting to order, and ask Reverend Hathaway, would you please lead us in the invocation and pledge of allegiance?
Certainly.
Thank you, sir.
Would you bow with me in prayer? Yes, you can stand. Eternal God, once again we pause to acknowledge your presence and to seek your guidance. You're the source of all wisdom, the giver of insight, and the author of peace. And so we thank you for the opportunity to gather as citizens and leaders of New Kent County. This is a county rich in history, in promise, and in purpose. And so tonight we lift up our elected officials, those who bear the weight of responsibility on their shoulders and hold the hopes of generations in their hands. May each supervisor, administrative staff, and each person appointed by our leaders remember that the future of our beloved New Kent rests upon our discernment and direction. We pray also for the families of our leaders, for their strength, sacrifice, and support. Bless them as they share in the unseen burdens of public service. Father, we pray for the citizens of New Kent County, recognizing both the opportunities and the challenges before us. May we grow in compassion, and may we develop always the equity that is necessary to walk together. God, we grant this board wisdom beyond their experience, insight beyond their data, and grant them courage beyond their comfort. Give them the resolve to make the hard decisions, not for personal gain or for political favor, but for the benefit of all of New Kent County. Lord, we pray for our neighbors, especially those family who lost their home this week. We pray, God, that in this fire this weekend, that they will understand that New Kent is a loving community that takes care of its own. And so in their time of need, we thank you for the generosity of neighbors helping neighbors. And we ask that in every way possible, our beloved county will support this family. And now with grateful hearts and hopeful spirits, Lord God, we entrust this board meeting to your care. In your holy name we pray, amen. Would you join me in the Pledge of Allegiance? I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Thank you.
Thank you, Reverend Hathaway. Ms. Watkins, would you do the roll call, please?
Mr. Evelyn?
Here.
Mr. Moyer?
Here.
Ms. Pearson?
Here.
Mr. Steers?
Here.
And Ms. Stewart?
Here.
I just have one percentage call, right? I don't do each other. No, okay. All right, next on the agenda is the consent agenda. If my colleagues have a chance to review it, any comments, deletions, additions?
Mr. Chairman, if there are none, I move to approve the consent agenda as presented.
Thank you, sir. Thank you. Appreciate it. Next on the agenda, I'm going to move this. The what? Oh, Ms. Watkins, would you poll the members?
Mr. Evelyn?
Aye.
Mr. Moyer?
Aye.
Ms. Pearson?
Aye.
Ms. Stewart?
Aye.
And Mr. Steers?
Aye. I'm going to skip over the citizens' comment period and go straight to our resident administrator's report so that he can get back to taking care of our roads in the county. Thank you.
You're too kind, Mr. Steers. Good evening, members of the board, county staff. Philip Frazier with VDOT. I believe last time I was here a month ago, I suggested that I would be doing a presentation on our upcoming resurfacing effort. I'm going to go ahead and call an audible, if that's okay. Thought it might be a bit tone deaf to talk about resurfacing efforts, considering we just had, the ice age of 2026. I thought it'd be about due for me to have a conversation about, what our efforts look like for the last couple weeks. So if you'll bear with me, on the weekend of January 24th and 25th, the central part of Virginia received about 3 inches of snow. Didn't seem that menacing. However, that was followed by about 8 plus hours of continuous sleep. So our staff worked for around the clock for a couple weeks in preparation, so doing brining operations where we take that saline water, apply it to our primary roads in preparation of a storm, and then response efforts where we're actually doing the plowing, and then cleanup. And that's really where the work began, was a continuous cleanup process that I think we're still dealing with even today. So just so you know, we were able to get our primaries to a minor condition. So that was the weekend, Saturday and Sunday. By Monday, we were able to have our primary roads to a minor condition, which means that there was minimal impacts to the traveling public for travel. That's on the primary. And then we shifted that to clear by that Tuesday morning. So pretty good response and made quick work of the primary system. That being said, the secondaries remained in a moderate condition for an extended period of time. So there were some pretty significant impacts to traffic. That was primary on our proper secondary roads. But really where we saw the greatest impacts were the subdivision roads. Why? That was due to the prolonged significant historic cold temperatures that we had. For a few weeks, we had highs, an average high of about 30 degrees with an average low of about 15 degrees at night. So what did the temperatures do? So during the day, the sun pops up. You might get to about freezing, maybe a little bit above freezing, and you'll see some minor melting occur. Well, that happens from about noon until 5 o'clock. By the time the sun starts coming back down, we started seeing all of that melting turn back into a frozen layer of ice. So every single morning, our teams would come back in and essentially start from scratch. So we actually had to shift our resources around. Typically, we try to manage these storms with a day shift and a night shift, equal resources applied throughout the day. That became ineffective just because there wasn't a lot that we could do with peeling up frozen layers of ice in the middle of the night. So we had to really concentrate our efforts on treatment, and that is using that abrasive salt and sand combination. It's 10 parts sand, 1 part salt. The whole point is to apply traction to these icy roads while also giving enough salt so that it doesn't freeze up in the truck and can potentially cause some thawing of the frozen roads. This was a slow process. It was something that we had to shift our resources around and focus most of our efforts, our labor efforts throughout the day, only having a few people working overnight. In addition to that, we had to rely heavily on our heavy equipment. We do not have the same number of heavy equipment, that's tractors, graders, pieces of equipment like that, compared to our dump trucks. That's what we really needed to take advantage of so that we could get the down pressure and break and chip and peel off some of that ice. So it took quite a bit of time on our end to respond. Just want to say I appreciate the patience from the traveling public. I know that it could be frustrating. I will say this, we're still seeing a lot of private driveways, yards that are still covered in sheets of ice. So this was something that we felt across the entire Commonwealth. And like I said, we're still experiencing it. Some of the impacts of that today. The good news is we did not have the trees come down that we were prepared for. We had multiple tree contractors on standby throughout the storm on the 24th and 25th because we were expecting a lot of freezing rain. So even though this sleet was problematic for us, freezing rain could have been much worse. So that was a benefit. We constantly were using our state forces and our hired equipment resources side by side, just day and night, like I said, continuously. So with that, I want to say thank you to my team, Mark Harlow and Jeff Allgood. They're really responsible for the maintenance program. Phil Taggart, he's the superintendent for the New Kent area headquarters. He's the front line, him and his team. They're tired. They have continued to work. They worked this weekend because we had another little blip that was a little bit more impactful than we really expected it to be. And then the wind on Saturday was blowing snow drifts back over the roads. It wasn't even snowing anymore, and we were still seeing roads covered with snow. So I want to take a moment to publicly say thank you to my team for their hard work, because frankly, it doesn't get done without their leadership. And I want to say thank you to yourselves. You guys were great. I appreciated the kind words. I actually told people I got more compliments on our snow removal operations through the last couple weeks than the opposite. So I just want to say thank you to you guys for reaching out and telling us job well done. And I know we can always do better. There's always opportunities. There's roads that get missed. I couldn't tell my leadership that we had 100% roads completed because I knew that there would be something that we missed. And inevitably, there's always one or two. But I want to commend my team because I think they did a really stand-up job. So with that, if there's any questions on the aftermath of our snow removal operations or where we are now, I'll be happy to take it. But with that, I will plan to come back next month to present a presentation on the resurfacing schedule, as well as a dedicated public hearing for a rural rustic road here in New Kent, known as Clark Road.
Thank you, Mr. Frazier. Are there any comments, Ms. Stewart?
Yep, thank you, Mr. Chair. Mr. Frazier, I know I sent this to you directly, but I want to make sure I say it here for all the hundreds of people watching I know at home and the few people here in the room. I had a resident who's lived in the Chickahominy Shores for 51 years and said that this storm was the best they've ever seen their roads taken care of. So to me, that's a lot, especially having ridden the bus there from kindergarten until I got my driver's license. We used to get to miss school because the shores were not taken care of very well. So I'm sorry for the kids that live in the shores now. But I really appreciate that. That meant a lot to hear. So thank you to you and your team. And I'm just reflecting on the sheet you leave us here. I noticed how many of these are in District 5. So thank you for being responsive to the residents and making it very easy to be a supervisor this last month.
Thank you, Ms. Stewart.
Philip, I just want to say thank you as well. The 2 times I think I contacted you, you were right on it, and the citizens that contacted me were amazed at how fast someone was out there, so I appreciate it.
Thank you.
Mr. Moore?
Again, thank you. I've gotten about 4 or 5 calls that were pretty interesting, during the trial and tribulations, but all of them were resolved, and of having Phil Taggart on my speed dial is really handy, I'll tell you. But the one thing I wanted to mention, not necessarily to you guys, but to the population out there, have a plan for your driveways. I got a call from a constituent that had, according to her, a day and a half of propane left, and the propane truck was not going to come up her driveway because they would get stuck, and they couldn't get up there because of the ice. And she had no plan to call. She called enough people that we eventually found somebody for her to clear her driveway. But those are, that's like, know where your documents are, know where your emergency number is. You should know where that help is too. So that avoided a problem, but it was tough.
I second that sentiment wholeheartedly. A few days after the storm, I was figuring out a way to buy a generator because I was terrified I was going to leave my wife in a position in a future storm. So you're exactly right. You got to be prepared.
Mr. Evans?
I spoke this last week to you and just echo my fellow board members. Just thank you and your team. Job well done.
Yep, Mr. Frazier, I give you guys an A+ for the effort that you put in. I had one call from a lady out in Brickshire, and you guys missed her street. I don't know how that happened, but I called Phil Taggart, and he said, Ron, I'm on my way. So, he was out there, and we appreciate it. I know it seemed to me like you have more than one company in that neighborhood.
So we do. When we get hired equipment, we get mom and pops, we get large construction contractors. We get multiple contractors that support us. So we have some folks that have one truck in their fleet. We have some that have 15 or 20 trucks in their fleet. So yes, it can be multiple folks. Plus, on top of it, we use our own state forces to push snow. So a lot of different resources that we tap into.
Okay. Thanks again. We appreciate it, and we'll see you next month.
All right, appreciate it. Hope
Thank
you have a
you.
good one.
All right, next we'll go to the citizens' comment period. Has anyone signed up? Thank you. When I call out your name, if you'll please come up to the podium, list your name, your address, and you have 3 minutes to speak. And the first person and only person is Diana Matthews. Welcome.
Good evening, everyone. Can you guys hear me? Yes. Good evening. My name is Diana Matthews. I reside at 8004 Arbor Ponds Terrace in New Kent, Virginia. First of all, thank you to the board for taking the time to listen to me. I know the room isn't packed to the brim like it was last month with all the folks from New Kent Elementary, but I do have one colleague here with me. Her name is Natasha. She also lives in our district. And basically what my topic is today is about the busing for Stay and Play. So my kids go to Stay and Play in Quinton, and we were notified by Ms. Kate that they're going to be taking away the buses the next school year. And so I voiced my concerns to Miss Amy, which I appreciate you, Miss Amy Pearson, for always taking my calls. I don't call you as much, but when I do call, you do pick up and you're responsive. And so I appreciate that. Especially in this small county, I do appreciate that you guys are responsive. So I notified Ms. Pearson, who then put me into contact with Ms. Dombrowski, which then put me in contact with the school board. Mr. Hockman did reach out to me, and he notified me that he would be following up. Some of the options that he did provide to me after the fact was the alternate daycare, which I'll share with you guys. I don't know if Mr. Hockman has kids, but just in the past few years, the county has grown tremendously. And so I not only have one kid, I not only have 2 kids, I not only have 3 kids, I not only have 4 kids. No, I'm just playing. I only have 3 kids. But to get 3 kids into any daycare in the county, you're going to be put on a wait list, and just trying to do that one other time some time ago, it's months. And so by the time they try to get you on board, which I can be transparent with you, the one daycare that was in my region, it took about 8 to 9 months before somebody contacted me. And so with that being said, and that's only for one at that time. So to try to get 3 kids transitioned into one of the local daycares where, which is in our zone for a school bus, we would not be able to get in time to get into that daycare before the school year starts. And so I'm asking that you guys please either consider, keeping the bus there at Stay and Play. It's going to be affecting, I know from what Ms. Kate had stated, probably 16 kids. She stated that even if she were to try to get a bus, that it wouldn't fit all the students that would be going to George Watkins. And my kids are at George Watkins, by the way. And then I think it's affecting some other kids that are going to New Kent Christian because they share that same bus. If not being able to get a bus there, doing something with before and after care for the kids. Right now, I know I called a few years back, but now currently there's only before care, there's no after care. And so I'm just hoping that we can do something where there's an additional, service provided in one of the fastest growing counties in, Virginia, where the average home cost is like almost $400,000. You got a lot of working people here that have to go to work, and I commute 1 hour away, and I'm just hoping that we could keep a bus or give us some additional services. So I appreciate your time. Thank you.
Thank you, Ms. Matthews.
Mr. Chair, I know we're not supposed to respond, but I am going to bring this up during the budget retreat, and so that we can talk about it a little bit. There's a total of 3 daycare centers, and I think they can fill one bus. So
Right.
we'll talk about that
Okay.
during the budget retreat. Thank you.
Okay. Thank you, Ms. Pearson.
Mr. Chairman,
Yes,
if I
sir.
could add, Ms. Pierce, I've talked to a couple of the daycare people that run a daycare, and I know that they're all getting together, working with Mr. Hockman and trying to come up with some type of situation, because it affects a lot of kids. Yeah. So I think it'd be great to bring it up during the budget process, as Ms. Pearson suggested. So it's not going on deaf ears.
Okay, thank you. Next on the agenda is the consideration exception request of Carol D. Senior. Ms. Silva.
Thank you, Mr. Chair, and good evening, members of the board. For the record, my name is Patrick Silva, Principal Planner with the Department of Community Development's Planning Division, here tonight to represent a private roadway exception request submitted by Carol D. Randall in relation to a proposed family subdivision. So pursuant to the New Kent County Code, Mr. Randall has requested an exception to the private roadway standards of the family subdivision process in cases where more than 3 or more new lots are being created. So in those cases, lots created via family subdivisions are normally required to be accessed via a new permanent 50-foot deeded right-of-way built to VDOT standards. The parcel that is proposed to be subdivided is seen here, a 12.05 acre parcel. Just a kind of quick refresher, since you all did see this one last month. Again, Mr. Randall is going to be subdividing it into 3 new parcels to be given to his 3 children to build their respective residences on. He is requesting an exception to both the 50-foot width requirement and the surface treatment requirement of that private roadway to have a right-of-way that would measure less than 50 feet in width and then be surfaced with gravel instead of asphalt or concrete. So as you may recall, this item was originally considered by the board at last month's January 13th Supervisors meeting, where the members of the board did express their support for the request with the added condition of approval that the lots be held by the grantees of the new parcels created via family subdivision for a minimum of 10 years as opposed to the normal 3 years that is built into the family subdivision regulations. The request was deferred from consideration at that hearing so that staff could discuss this proposed condition with Mr. Randall. And after discussing with him, he has expressed that he would be amenable to that added condition. So the item is coming back before you for consideration this evening. Consistent with last month, staff is continuing to recommend approval, and at their December 15th meeting, the Planning Commission considered the item and recommended a favorable recommendation of approval to the members of the board. So I will conclude my presentation there, and I'm happy to answer any specific questions folks might have.
Thank you, Ms. Silva. Any questions from the board members? If not, I will entertain a motion.
Mr. Chairman, I
Yes.
move to adopt Resolution R-02-26R1 to approve the applicant's exception request to Section 98-126A6 of the New Kent County Code to allow an exception to the additional requirements regarding private roadways for family subdivisions involving 3 or more new lots at tax map parcel number 36-49, GPIN I-27-1868-0602. Do we need to put something in here about the 10-year requirement?
Yeah, I think you should.
Yes.
You should add the 10-year requirement
Adding a 10-year requirement
of ownership.
Thank you, Ms. Pearson. Any discussion? You guys want to go ahead and vote? Okay. Ms. Stewart? Ms. Watkins, would you poll the members? I'm sorry, guys.
Mr. Moyer,
Aye.
Ms. Pearson,
Aye.
Ms. Stewart,
Aye.
Mr. Evelyn,
Aye.
and Mr. Steers.
Aye. Thank you. Next on the agenda is the consider exception request of, and I'm going to get this wrong. Someone want to pronounce it? Hong Yugan?
Huang Nguyen.
That's close. On behalf of the family to Section 98-126A6 of the New Kent County Code, Resolution R0726.
Thank you very much, Mr. Chair. And we've got a twofer tonight, another private roadway exception request. Again, this time submitted by Mr. Huang Nguyen on behalf of the Nguyen family. Similar to the Randall request that was just considered, the Nguyen family is requesting exception to the private roadway standards of the family subdivision requirements, as opposed to requesting an exception from both the normally required 50-foot width for such private roadways and the surface treatment. Mr. Nguyen is just requesting an exception to the surface treatment. So would still be providing a 50-foot wide right-of-way to access the new lots that would be created, but again, proposing that that be surfaced with gravel instead of asphalt or concrete. So a little bit of context. I was hoping we would get that VDOT presentation tonight so we could have a nice kind of lead into this, but the property is located on Clark Road here, a 15-acre parcel that is indeed owned by Mr. Nguyen. And while the proposed configuration of lots associated with the proposed family subdivision are still being finalized, the intention is to subdivide to, again, create 3 new lots plus the remainder lot, all of which would be for his 4 children, to build their respective forever homes on. So, again, typically family subdivisions involving more than 3 new lots do require that those lots be accessed via a VDOT standard road. In this case, staff is supportive of the exception request for a number of reasons. So to speak to staff's consideration, according to 2024 VDOT traffic counts, unfortunately the 2025 ones won't be out until later this year, but Clark Road is designated a moderately low traffic volume road and would have the sufficient capacity to accommodate the 3 new lots proposed as part of the family subdivision. As such, the proposed gravel private right-of-way from which the lots would be accessed is not anticipated to adversely affect traffic safety conditions. And furthermore, the private right-of-way, though surfaced with gravel, would still be sufficiently designed for allow for the safe access of emergency services. So staff doesn't have any concerns with respect to the accessibility of those lots for emergency service personnel. One important consideration, as was alluded to by Mr. Frazier earlier tonight, is that there are some ongoing plans from VDOT to improve the existing Clark Road. It has one of the unique features of being one of maybe only 2 VDOT-owned right-of-ways that are surfaced with gravel in the county. You'll be getting the detail-laden presentation next month, and so I don't want to steal Mr. Frazier's thunder, but the general proposed improvements are that Clark Road would get a chip seal treatment. So again, the resurfacing project will have its public hearing item on the March Board of Supervisors agenda, and if and when that's approved, staff would expect that VDOT would finish up with any remaining ditch work or road grading maintenance on Clark Road before they apply the chip seal treatment, likely sometime in spring when the temperatures are high enough for it to be applied and cure properly. As of right now, the limits of disturbance for that project stretch from approximately the intersection of Stage and Clark all the way down to right in front of where the parcel that is proposed to be subdivided would be. Again, I mentioned Clark Road is intended or is currently graveled and is intended to be chip sealed. The private right-of-way that Mr. Nguyen is proposing to construct to access his lots would also be gravel. Post Clark Road improvement, though they would technically have sort of a different construction quality to them, both of them would technically be below what the public standards for VDOT quality road would be. So staff does feel comfortable recommending approval based on the sort of largely consistent geometry and construction standards of the future improved Clark Road, as well as the right-of-way that is proposed to be constructed from which those lots would be accessed. So that's a lot of talking for me. I will wrap this up by saying ultimately staff recommends approval of the exception request, and I am available for any specific questions you might have. Unfortunately, Mr. Nguyen himself was not able to be here tonight. But his son-in-law, Jordan Robinson, is here on behalf of the family in case there are any questions for them. So I will make myself available for any questions you all might have.
Thank you, Mr. Silva. Any questions?
Mr. Chair,
Yes.
Mr. Silva,
Mhm.
is the parcel on the road that's supposed to be improved?
It is. So the subject parcel that would be proposed for
Is that
subdivision
one?
is this
Okay.
far left one. Yeah, you kind of see it a little bit better called out here.
Okay. And
So
so,
the limits of that chip seal treatment would kind of end right in front of this property.
right, but the blue part is the driveway that's
So-
proposed, right? Or is
So
it
again,
coming
they're
in?
still kind of finalizing exactly
I
what the
gotcha.
layout would be. They're kind of playing with a few different configurations, but the general idea is that the 50-foot gravel right-of-way would stem off of Clark into what is currently the existing 15-acre lot, and then there would be sort of 4 equally sized lots that would be accessed from that gravel right-of-way.
And is it, this isn't unusual for us to approve something like this, because I have a road right in front of my driveway that's a gravel road that goes into a subdivision.
I wouldn't say it's no. I wouldn't say it's unusual. We probably haven't seen a ton of these requests in the last year or so, but these are the situations they would most often come to you as part of. I would say.
Okay.
So it's kind of unusual. We have 2 in one night.
Mr. Chair.
Mr. Moore, go ahead.
The one thing that's unique about this, if we would not grant the exception, his driveway would be in better conditions than the road in front of his house.
That's correct. Yes.
And with not having any real proof that that road in front of his house is going to be any better, I would think this would be, should be acceptable because he is giving the 50 feet.
That's a great point. That was definitely something we considered as well. It would be a little bit odd to kind of have a higher quality road that the lots are accessed from than Clark Road itself. So, yep, that was a key consideration of staff's as well.
Mr. Chairman,
Yes, sir, Mr. Evelyn.
is it correct that this was closed on last September?
Yes, sir, that's correct.
I guess, is he planning on building a house there to start with? I mean, what concerns me is it's not even been a year yet. And then, people start seeing this, they buy a lot, and all of a sudden they start doing family subdivisions everywhere. So,
Understood.
By right, he can build his house and the two more lots, right? He can put in there right now with the way the code is written.
Yeah, that's correct, sir.
With
yes.
his family.
Yes, sir.
So,
Without needing to come forward for the exception.
right. So he could build his house and you give 2 of his kids a lot right now by right with the family subdivision.
Yep, so 2 new lots, he wouldn't have to come forward for this exception request at all, but it's the 3 that triggers that. That's correct.
So assuming all 4 of them again, I mean, it's really a moot point, but I do have a little concern about closing that quick and granting this. I mean, I just think it sets a bad precedence. And if we're going to do it, we need to do the same thing, in my opinion, the 10-year stipulation after it's
And I could let Mr. Robinson confirm, but we did bring up that as something that may be tossed around, and the family has acknowledged that they would be amenable to that 10-year
I mean,
requirement.
they had to know that, when they bought it, they knew that they could only split it up 2 different ways, I assume.
Before the additional access requirements would be triggered. Yes, that's correct.
Any other discussion?
You said they are amenable to the 10 years. Okay.
That's correct.
Yes, sir.
I'm sorry, Patrick. I didn't catch the fact that they just purchased the property last year.
Yeah, that's what I.
So with the family, is there still the 3-year period for ownership? So
There
they're
is.
agreeing not to subdivide within that 3-year.
They were actually granted, so pursuant to, I believe it's 91-126B perhaps, there's the holding period exception that can be granted administratively. They have received that approval already. So the holding period on the front end
Okay.
they have been granted relief from.
Okay.
That's granted administratively.
Yes, sir.
Let's check on that when we do the rewrite, please.
Any other discussion?
Mr. Chair, I was just going to say, I tend to agree that if we're going to do the 10-year for the previous one, we should probably do the 10-year for this one, just to keep it consistent.
Mr. Chairman, Mr. Hefty, would that be because we're already, would that be 10 years after today or be 10 years after they get there?
It'd be 10 years after today.
10 years after today, okay.
And with both of them, if we can get that in writing from the owner
Yes, sir.
about the 10 years, that would be good.
Any
I
other
just,
discussion?
Mr. Chairman, I just do have a concern about how quick it's turned over, so, just one, for the record.
Any other comments?
Mr. Chair, with that in mind, I move to adopt Resolution R-07-26 to approve the applicant's exception request to Section 98-126A6 of the New Kent County Code to allow an exception to the additional requirements regarding private roadways for family subdivision involving 3 or more new lots at tax map parcel number 35-8-8, GPIN I21-3658-1464 with a 10-year ownership amendment to it.
Thank you, Mr. Moyer. Ms. Watkins, would you poll the members?
Ms. Pearson?
Aye.
Ms. Stewart?
Aye.
Mr. Evelyn?
No,
Mr. Moyer?
Aye.
And Mr. Steers?
Aye.
Thank you for your time.
Thank you, Ms. Silva. Next on the agenda is the Public Utility Capital Projects financing discussion. Mr. Lang.
Good evening, Mr. Chair, ladies and gentlemen of the board. Mike Lang, Public Utilities. I'm here before you tonight to get a firm direction on the amount to advertise for the public hearing for borrowing for the utility capital projects, specifically the water projects we discussed at the last meeting, and which contracts to bring back for approval at the one of the next 2 meetings. I want to emphasize that none of your decisions tonight are binding at this time. So I would like you to focus on scenarios 2 and 3 in Davenport's presentation from the prior meeting, and those are the Brickshire Tank projects as well as the Route 249 project. In previous meetings, we've discussed the various revenue sources that the utility department has. We are an enterprise fund. We do not get funds from tax revenues that the county receives. We've also discussed some of the funding challenges for these projects. One of the methods we've put forth to remedy some of this discrepancy is a change in financial policy, which Mr. Lawrence will present after this presentation. And so that would bring you to case B of all the scenarios that Davenport has presented. And that will free up, depending on what direction we go, that will free up from $0.8 million to $1.2 million in cash that we already have for spending on the capital projects. In our fee proposal for this year, we've proposed 4% increase in utility rates consistent with the CPI. We've also proposed increase in other fees that do not impact the residents. So these are administrative fees, plan review fees, inspection and GIS fees for new construction, an irrigation rate that would impact residents, commercial rate. So we proposed additional measures to help bridge that gap. However, there's still a gap to be made up. We've even eliminated unfilled positions, one full-time, one part-time. We've gone through our operating budget several times and eliminated many of the contingency funding that we've enjoyed in the past. If it absolutely makes a difference, we could eliminate an additional $1.5 million from existing CIP contingencies. That would strip it down to the bare bones. We would not have money set aside for projects that are in the planning phase. So with that, I would open it up for any questions. I can turn it over to Ted to discuss the financing options again. Again, we're here to get your direction. There is no motion necessary or requested.
Thank you, Mr. Lang. You guys, y'all want to go ahead and talk to our finance guy?
Which one?
Talk to him first. Talk to him first.
Okay.
Good evening. Yeah, happy to answer any questions if there are. As Mike alluded, there's a financing schedule for the Virginia Resources Authority that would have you all considering action at your March 9th meeting. That would be a public hearing and a resolution if you want all of this to move forward. I believe the notice of public hearing needs to go to the paper this Friday. And in that notice of public hearing needs to be a dollar amount. That is a not to exceed. It can come down, but it can't go above that without holding, the borrowing cannot go above that without holding another public hearing. So that's really the next deadline that we're up against, is what number to include in the notice of public hearing. When we were going to do this in the fall, I believe we were using a number around $27 million. And under our latest scenarios, scenario 3 that Mike had mentioned, which includes both Brickshire and Route 249, we're coming up with a borrowing amount a little over $23 million. So we would recommend for the notice of public hearing, we put a little bit of cushion in that number. So if 23 becomes 25, it's just a placeholder. We're only going to borrow what's absolutely necessary and what's been approved by you all. So happy to answer any other questions regarding the financing process. Again, notice of public hearing this Friday, that needs to get a dollar amount in there, and then March 9th would be the meeting where you all would take or consider taking action.
Mr. Chair,
Yes, sir.
would you say that the Brookshire water tank, would that be the number one priority?
Absolutely.
And what was that roughly again? I got it in my
Roughly
bag.
10 million,
10.5 million.
10.5.
We've also, of the two projects, but we also have these carry forwards that are projects that have been approved that we still need funding for, and just not to lose track of that, and I'm sorry, I didn't bring my hard copy. You know, those projects by themselves require $2.5–3 million worth of debt. You've got some money already set aside for some of those projects, but the sum of those carry forwards still need about $3 million worth of debt to fund, and then Brickshire would be on top of that, Route 249 on top of that.
And how much was 249 again?
$5.5 million.
Is there any other discussion?
So would you suggest something like 20 million to put in the paper?
The carry forwards, Brickshire and Route 249, I would say 25.
25. Okay. 'Cause
Now,
we can act on.
technically, we're
any
right
amount.
around 22, but I just, from,
That is a very safe number.
right. And again, the borrowing itself, if it moves forward, just needs to come in under the not to exceed.
Quick reminder that as we add the different layers of debt service, there's also a rate increase that will kind of accompany that. Your baseline of just the carry forwards would be met by our current anticipated rate, which was in the CIP, which is 4%. The adding of the Brickshire tank puts it a little bit above 4%. We might be able to meet that with some reductions in the FY27 budget to get us there. And then if we wanted to include the 249 tank the 249 line, pardon me, that would move the increase closer to 8%. So just if that's a non-starter, I don't, want to make sure that we're aware of that before we move forward.
Mr. Chair,
Yes, sir.
I know we need the 249 interconnection sooner than later, but I just don't know how we're going to pay for it. I mean, if I had to choose one for this barn, I would just feel comfortable with the Brickshire.
Well, we discussed that earlier at a previous meeting about delaying the 249, right?
We have discussed that, and my opinion is that it's only going to cost more the longer you delay. You're talking 10% increases in construction costs annually. So it is a major step. If we want to bring in an outside source of water or an alternative source of water to groundwater, and that's what DEQ is telling us we need to do, we have to get that water from Bottoms Bridge to the rest of the county. And this is the pipe that does it. So that pipe has to happen eventually. We'll work with whatever scenario you give us, but we're going to be back asking to borrow more money sooner than later if we postpone that project.
Thank you, Ms. Lang.
Yes, sir.
Any other comments?
I mean, I guess we can advertise worst case scenario and then make the decision at the next meeting, but I'm inclined to say to defer it as well. But if we want to wait and make that decision at the next meeting, I'm fine with that and advertising at the higher rate. I just don't see 8% increase on water rates, so.
Thank you, Ms. Pearson. Any other comments? Thank you for your time.
Thank you.
So we got to give them some direction. Is that what the board decided? Is that what you want, Chair?
Go ahead and advertise it as 25. And we can always reduce it later. Is that right? Is that right, Ms. Pearson?
Yes, it says no action is required.
Right.
If we just agree to the 25, then.
Right. Thank you.
I don't agree.
Next on the agenda is the adoption of the revised Kent County financial policies.
Good evening, Mr. Chair, members of the
Good
board. The motion you have in front of you is to revise our financial policies. This will be revision number 5. The last one occurred in May of 2024, where we revised a little bit of the Colonial Downs revenue policies. This revision, as Mike and Ted mentioned here a second ago, kind of adjusts our system reserves. Currently, we are based on 50% of operating revenue or $3 million, whichever is greater.
held back in reserves just to maintain operations in case something catastrophic happens. That number, I think, served us very well as we were kind of growing. Where we are currently, the adjustment to expenses kind of better represents what we're trying to do, which is to maintain 50% of the prior year's expenses rather than looking at the revenues. I think it's a more accurate depiction of what we need to maintain the operations of the water sewer funds as a whole. So that's what this revision does. It keeps that $3 million level regardless, so that's the minimum, even if our expenses for some odd reason fell off a cliff. But it frees up a little bit more of those reserves so we don't have to borrow as much in this instance and then in future instances as well. Operating expenses here are the day-to-day operations to keep the water system running, excluding your depreciation, your capital items, things like that. The measurement period will be based upon the audited financials from the prior year. So once we get our final numbers in for FY26, the FY27 cash reserve number will be based upon that. So that gives you kind of a definitive measurement date and a definitive, way to kind of track that moving forward. It also, like I said, opens up a little bit more on the lending end of the world and helps us be a little bit more flexible to do what we need to do to maintain operations. But I'm happy to answer any questions you may have.
Thank you, Mr. Lawrence. Any questions for Mr. Lawrence?
Mr. Lawrence, what's the current operating ending fiscal year 25?
Ooh, I should have had that one off the top because I'd have to net out depreciation. I can get that to you shortly.
It doesn't have to be exact. I mean, like 5.5. Yeah. So then it would be the $3 million.
It would be the $3 million, yes, ma'am.
Okay. And I mean, like, what would it be if we were keeping this in here with the revenues?
I believe our revenues last year would be around 4. Yeah. So upwards of 8 million of revenues last year on the operating side. So it frees up a good deal of cash.
Okay. It does make sense to base it on expenditures.
Yes.
I mean, that's what we do for reserves most of the time.
Yeah. It's what I've done historically as well. It's a pretty good tracker. I think a lot of systems run the same way. They vary on percentages. Some do it based on months. Some do it, based on kind of a little bit more moving averages. But I think that the 50% number is fairly strong.
I don't think I've ever seen it based on revenues, to be honest with you. It's usually based on expenditures.
Yes, ma'am.
Any other questions? Any comments? Go ahead, motion.
Mr. Chairman, I move to adopt revision 5 of the New Kent County financial policies as presented.
Thank you, Mr. Evelyn. Ms. Watkins, would you poll the members?
Ms. Stewart?
Aye.
Mr. Evelyn?
Aye.
Mr. Moyer?
Aye.
Ms. Pearson?
Aye.
And Mr. Steers?
Aye.
Thank you.
Next on the agenda is the elected officials report. Ms. Stewart.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. Not much this evening. Did just want to give a special recognition to Fire and Rescue for battling what I know is a very challenging house fire with a rental house in District 5 on Saturday. I know Mr. Frazier talked about the wind, and I know that was just very, very challenging. So appreciate Fire and Rescue being as on top of that as they could have been. It's a very, very challenging part of District 5 to get to, and appreciate New Kent, James City, West Point, everyone who assisted. I know this was especially devastating for both the renters and the homeowners. So just want to really recognize them for their effort and all the folks that were involved. And just as we look at all of the goodwill around the situation in the county, make sure if you are giving to the effort that you are giving to the legitimate sites set up for that and not getting scammed. So just pay extra attention on that. But thank you again to Chief Opet and his team, who I know did everything they could to make it the best outcome possible.
Thank you, Ms. Stewart. Ms. Pearson.
Thank Thank you, Mr. Steers. I just wanted to announce that the Pine Fork Ridge proposed development community meeting is now going to be on Thursday, March the 5th from 6 to 7:30 at Fire Station 5. Also wanted to mention that February is Black History Month, and I wanted to give a special shout out to Reverend Hathaway for all the wonderful Facebook posts that he puts out there daily about all of the Black history in New Kent County, and there's a lot of it. So such an interesting post every day, tells a lot of detail about the Black history in New Kent. So thank you, Reverend Hathaway.
Thank you, Ms. Pearson. Mr. Moyer.
Thank you, Chairman. I just want to mention that on February 17th at 9 o'clock at Fire Station number 6, I'll be having my little sidewalk town hall meeting for anybody in District 2 or anybody in the county that wants to come out, see the new fire station. Also to mention how well everybody in the area has done with VDOT in the last week. So thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Moyer. Mr. Evelyn.
Yes, sir.
And I don't have any reports at this time. We'll go into the staff reports. Mr. Hathaway.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman and members of the board. I do have 2 items for a staff report. Both of them are before you. The first is a resolution titled Resolution Authorizing the Purchase of Approximately 6.2 Acres of Land, identified as tax map parcel number 3-1, Resolution R-09-26. This is for a purchase scheduled for tomorrow. It was approved in the current year's budget. The funding has already been appropriated. The closing documents, though, that was provided by the seller did state that the board was to adopt a resolution. So therefore, you do have a resolution before you authorizing myself to execute the closing documents in a form approved by the county attorney. I have reviewed the closing documents. Our county attorney has also reviewed the closing documents, and we are prepared to close tomorrow on the property. And for the public, the 6.2 acres of land is property that the county intends to purchase for an intake site for a surface water withdrawal system on the Pamunkey River. And we do need a motion on this. If there could be a motion to adopt Resolution -09-26.
Thank you, Mr. Hathaway.
Mr. Chair,
Yes.
I'll make a motion to approve R-09-26 for the purchase of land by our county administrator.
Thank you, Mr. Moyer. Ms. Watkins, would you poll the members?
Mr. Evelyn?
Aye.
Mr. Moyer?
Aye.
Ms. Pearson?
Aye.
Ms. Stewart? And Mr. Steers?
Aye. Any other business?
Yes. Yeah.
Do you want to do the appointments?
Yep.
Oh, I'm sorry.
One other item. As you know, we've just been through a major weather event. As a result of that, on January 23rd, the county did declare a local state of emergency. Per the state code, after that declaration, the county has 45 days to come before the board to adopt a resolution for that declaration. And that's what you have before you, Resolution R-08-26. A resolution declaring a local state of emergency.
Did you take mine?
Oh, I did? There you go. I got another one.
Ms. Watkins, would you poll the members?
Need a motion.
Oh, I'm sorry. I'll catch on sooner or later. Do I hear a motion?
Mr. Chair, I move that the New Kent County Board of Supervisors, in response to the Coordinator of Emergency Management's January 23rd, 2026 declaration of a local emergency. Does hereby declare a local emergency throughout New Kent County pursuant to Virginia Code Section 44-146.21.
Thank you, Ms. Stewart. Ms. Watkins, would you poll the members?
Mr. Moyer,
Aye.
Ms. Pearson,
Aye.
Ms. Stewart,
Aye.
Mr. Evelyn,
Aye.
and Mr. Steers.
Aye. Next, we'll go to the appointments. Appointments by district.
Mr. Chairman,
Yes, sir.
I move to appoint Christine Best as District 1's representative to the Clean County Committee to complete a 4-year term ending December 31st, 2026. I move to appoint Margaret Jefferson as District 1's representative to the Seniors Volunteer Hall of Fame Selection Committee to complete a 2-year term ending December 31st, 2026. And I move to appoint Matthew Matheny as District 1's representative to the Wetland Board, Chesapeake Bay Preservation Board, and the Dunes and Beaches Boards to serve a 5-year term beginning January 1, 2026 and ending December 31st, 2030. And just on a side note, Mr. Bragg has held that position on the Wetland Board since I've been on the board, and he passed away last month. So I'd like to thank him for his service.
Thank you, Mr. Evelyn. Ms. Moyer? No. Ms. Watkins, would you poll the members?
Ms. Pearson,
Aye.
Ms. Stewart, Mr. Evelyn,
Aye.
Mr. Moyer,
Aye.
and Mr. Steers.
Aye. We do boards and commissions not delegated by district.
Mr. Chairman, I move to nominate Tony Wood for Circuit Court appointment as an alternate representative to the Board of Zoning Appeals to serve a 5-year term beginning January 1, 2026 and ending December 31st, 2030.
Anybody else? Ms. Watkins, would you poll the members?
Ms. Stewart,
Aye.
Mr. Evelyn,
Aye.
Mr. Moyer,
Aye.
Ms. Pearson,
Aye.
and Mr. Steers.
Aye. We have any appointments for regional boards and commissions?
Mr. Chair, I move to appoint Reverend Dr. Milton Hathaway as New Kent's Planning Commission representative to the Plan RVA Planning District Commission to serve a 1-year term beginning January 1st, 2026 and ending December 31st, 2026.
Any others? Ms. Watkins, would you poll the members?
Mr. Evelyn,
Aye.
Mr. Moyer,
Aye.
Ms. Pearson,
Aye.
Ms. Stewart,
Aye.
and Mr. Steers.
Aye. Board of Equalization nominations, anyone?
Yes, sir, Mr. Chairman.
Yes, sir, Ms. Evelyn.
I move to nominate C. Linwood Gregory for a district court appointment as a member of the Board of Equalization to serve a term ending December 31st, 2026.
Is that it? Anybody else? Ms. Watkins, would you poll the members?
Mr. Moyer,
Aye.
Ms. Pearson,
Aye.
Ms. Stewart,
Aye.
Mr. Evelyn,
Aye.
and Mr. Steers.
Aye.
Mr. Chairman,
Yes.
I'm sorry, if I could go back to, can I make another appointment to
I thought-
not delegated by district?
Sure. Go ahead.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. I move to appoint Denise Morris as an at-large representative to the Parks and Rec Advisory Commission to serve a 3-year term beginning January 1st, 2026 and ending December 31st, 2028.
Thank you, Mr. Evelyn. Anyone else? Ms. Watkins, would you poll the members?
Ms. Pearson,
Aye.
Ms. Stewart,
Aye.
Mr. Evelyn,
Aye.
Mr. Moyer,
Aye.
and Mr. Steers.
Aye. Anybody want to make a motion to adjourn? Yeah. The next regularly scheduled meeting of the Board of Supervisors will be held at 6 p.m. on Monday, March 9th, 2026, and the next work session will be held at 9 a.m. on Tuesday, February 24th, 2026, both in the boardroom of the County Administration Building.
Mr. Chair, I'll move to adjourn.
Thank you, Ms. Pearson. Ms. Watkins, would you poll the members?
Ms. Stewart? Aye. Mr. Evelyn?
Aye.
Mr. Moyer?
Aye.
Ms. Pearson?
Aye.
And Mr. Steers?
Aye.